Let's talk some Auburn spring football. We did Alabama yesterday with Clint Lamb. Here is Zac Blackerby, thebarnauburn.com. Thebarnauburn.com is the website to see all Zac's work. What is up, Zac? How are you today?
Hey, guys. How we doing?
Doing awesome, man. You good?
Yeah. Making it on a very little sleep with the third kiddo just entering the world a few weeks ago. But happy to be with you guys.
Dad, what are the ages on your three kids?
Can I guess? Can I guess? I'm gonna guess.
Yeah, guess away. Sure.
I'm gonna guess.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 5, 2, and 1. 5, 2, and just born. Yeah.
Yeah. You're like a month off. So like almost 5, 2, and just born. So yeah, you're really good.
Boy, that is
man.
Thebarnauburn.com. I'm one of those.
That
I'm
is some
thebarnauburn.com
work,
groupie.
my friend. 3 car seats. My gosh.
Yeah, no, we had to. We upgraded to a minivan
Oh.
a few months ago. We felt like we had to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're a minivan family now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey,
Nothing says sexy like a minivan, man.
Hey,
Nothing says convenience though, man. Like, it's so practical. It's crazy.
Listen to him.
Hey, Chili Palmer had one in Get Shorty, Cadillac of minivans. We talked about this Baylor Auburn number last week, and it's going to be right around a pick. And you know, before we get into personnel and all of that, I mean, this is one of those games that if you win it, it's great. But man, what a dangerous game for a team that really needs to get off to a great September start.
Yeah. Auburn going to Baylor, I think, is super tricky, and I think it's a game that a lot of Auburn fans might be overlooking. And I mean, we've got months to kind of recalibrate and all that, but yeah, it's 1.5, right?
Yeah.
And right now, like I don't know which direction I would go with that. Right now, I would almost lean Baylor. I feel like I like Baylor in that situation. But you're right. I mean, if Auburn loses this game, I mean, everybody's talking about what Hugh Freeze and the Auburn Tigers need to do to, you know, take that next step forward with what he's trying to do with this rebuild of Auburn football. Losing that game really, really makes it a lot tougher and puts you behind the 8 ball for sure.
Listen, all these great receivers from the previous class, and you still get, and help me if I get this right, Sam Turner, number 18. Every time I see highlights from practice that they send it out at Auburn, this kid's making a catch. Is there room for another receiver to make it a rotation? What do you think of the Sam Turner kid?
Yeah. So Brad Law and I talked about this a ton on yesterday's Village Vice. Like, how many relevant receivers can there be in this offense? And right now, I think that number's 5. I think Sam Turner is part of that. Then obviously they went out and got Horatio Fields. It sounds like he's having a good spring too. But Sam Turner, man, you can't talk to anybody that's at these practices or within this program or guys in the locker room without them bringing up Sam Turner. I mean, I asked about the defensive line to a source last week, and they somehow also brought up Sam Turner. People can't quit talking about Sam Turner. So, I mean, they're posting the highlights on there too. Like, there's proof that he's achieving, you know, these things that they're talking about. So definitely a name to watch.
But one of those guys that is a proven commodity, Eric Singleton. Like, if you were looking at one guy to get the majority of touches, would Singleton be that guy?
Yeah. If I had to pick who leads Auburn in receptions, I would say Eric Singleton. Maybe not yards, maybe not touchdowns, but I do think Eric Singleton's a guy who can do it all. And when you have, 4 or 5 receivers that you like, you got to think about, like, okay, well, how can all of these guys play? Because, like, I think Singleton and Malcolm Simmons are pretty similar players. And I think Malcolm learning under Singleton is going to be huge for his long-term development, because I think that's kind of what the next step is for Malcolm. So the question is, like, can both those guys be on the field at the same time? Because they're so similar, and I think they will be. But Singleton's a guy that can play slot. He can play outside. That's what he did at Georgia Tech. And so I just think the overall targets and the overall snap counts for Singleton will definitely put him in that conversation as far as, who gets the most touches for Auburn receivers. Absolutely.
Zac Blackerby is with us at Z Blackerby on social media. You see him at thebarnauburn.com, thebarnauburn.com. Great time to go enjoy their content, looking back at basketball, some baseball content there for Auburn baseball, which is nationally ranked. And, of course, Auburn spring football, and sign up there at thebarnauburn.com. I mean, the obvious next step, we've talked a lot about receivers here, but somebody's got to get them the ball.
Yeah.
Jackson Arnold's supposed to be that guy. From what you can gather, what has been the first impression in the spring of Jackson Arnold?
Yeah, I mean, I think Jackson Arnold's doing what he needs to do. I think the conversation's been more about Deuce Knight, the 5-star true freshman, just because I do think Deuce Knight is the more electric, maybe the more polarizing athlete in that room. But I do think Jackson Arnold will ultimately win this job. There are a lot of folks that think it's close. And if it's close, who does the tiebreaker go to? It's probably going to go to the older guy, the more experienced guy, especially when Auburn starts the season on the road in Waco against that Baylor team that we just talked about. So to me, like, I wanted to hear more good things about Jackson than we have so far. But right now, it seems like everybody wants to talk about Deuce Knight, and it sounds like Deuce Knight has shocked a lot of people.
Oh, wow.
If I took quarterback off the table, where is Auburn the most improved, do you think, from what we saw at the end of last year? What unit are they most improved at?
I mean, I think it's receiver, but since we already talked about receiver, I'll give you another one. I mean, I think Auburn in their defensive back room, specifically cornerback, I think they'll have one of the best cornerback rooms in the SEC. I mean, I think super highly of Jay Crawford, who was a true freshman a year ago. I think super highly of Kayan Lee, who's going into his third season at Auburn. We saw his first full season as a starter last year. I thought he was exceptional. But then, they go out and get Ryan Strader, who had a heck of a ton of pass breakups at Miami of Ohio last year. PFF loves him. The analytics love him. And then Champ Anthony, who was balling out before he got hurt and, suffered that season-ending injury a year ago. Auburn's deep at corner, and we're not even mentioning some of these top corners that they got as true freshmen. Blake Woodby, one of the top corners in this class. It sounds like he's having a really good spring as well. So I would say Auburn's cornerback room, I think they're going to be really good, guys.
So we did offense, defense, little special teams here. The GI issue, Alex McPherson was out a good majority of the year. You never knew when he was going to play, and when Towns Magoo would come in, it was quite the up and down experience. Where is Alex McPherson? Should he be 100% healthy? Does he have his confidence back?
I hope so. I mean, it doesn't look like he's gained a ton of weight, which, I mean, I know it doesn't mean much for a kicker, but just as far as like him as a human, like you want him to be healthy and back, as close to 100% as we possibly can. But I mean, I do think Auburn kind of hedged their bets a little bit. One, they held on to Towns Magoo, who I don't know why we do this, but sometimes I think we view kicker as a different position. It's like, oh, well, you're just going out there to kick it. But like Towns Magoo still was a freshman. And being a freshman at any position in the SEC is tough, especially when, I think there's even little added pressure when you're kicking those key field goals. And I mean, look, if Auburn would have made a few of those, I think they would have been probably 2 more wins on the season. But they also went out and got Connor Gibbs from Southern Miss. So, I mean, they've got 3 options that I think are all solid. But obviously the goal is for Alex McPherson to get healthy, but I haven't heard anything definitive on that, guys.
Zach, I'm going to tell everybody about my bookie real quick. Have Auburn's schedule. You know the game. Have Auburn's schedule handy because I want to ask you a schedule question that we discussed yesterday. MyBookie.ag code next round is what we're talking about. So you go sign up right now with code next round and get a 50% sign-on bonus up to $1,000. And a $10 casino chip right now. You play the Masters there, Major League Baseball, the NBA, all of that right there. Even bet on futures in college football as we talk about Auburn. MyBookie.ag code next round. MyBookie.ag code next round. Get that 50% deposit bonus and a $10 casino chip. All right. We were discussing, and we were just asked the question in the chat room, or I can't remember how it came up, Hugh Freeze's signature win at Auburn. We all agreed, I guess it had to be last year's Texas A&M team. That A&M,
has to be.
Yeah, I mean, that was his only ranked win. The A&M team couldn't finish the deal. There have been a lot of close losses. Where is the signature win, do you think, for Auburn? Now, obviously, Georgia or Alabama would be it. But if it's not one of those two, where is it in this upcoming schedule, do you think?
I think if you get either one, I think at Baylor has a chance to be. I think Baylor's not going to be. I think they're going to be a solid team this year. But either of those other road games in the first half of the schedule, I think at Oklahoma is super tricky. I think at Texas A&M is super tricky. And then Maybe Missouri at home. Like, is Missouri going to be able to maintain what they've been doing? Like, they're losing a ton. They're losing a ton, and a lot of those guys are about to get drafted. So I don't know if I want to put that one up there. Then, like, your other opportunities, like, okay, like, you should beat Vandy at Vandy, even though you couldn't beat them at home last year. Like, you should beat Arkansas on the road. Like, okay, even though you couldn't beat them at home last year. You should beat Kentucky at home. You did beat them on the road last year. So, to me, it's got to be one of those road games, or obviously against one of your two big rivals.
Wow.
Okay, because I asked about Alex McPherson's help, the obvious Hugh Freeze seemed like in good spirits. Seemed to be normal day-to-day stuff for you right now.
Yeah. Everything I've heard is it's been taken care of, caught it at an appropriate time, and the proper steps are being taken care of. So, yeah, I mean, obviously Hugh Freeze has been pretty public about it. And it seems like everything's headed in the right direction. So obviously that's all we can hope for.
One more football before you get out of here, man. That defensive line, DJ Durkin, I just love that guy as a coach. Thought he did a tremendous job. Big keep for Auburn, up in his salary and everything. We know the star's back on defense. Tell me about Crawford, that weird jersey number 24, and what he's been showing you in camp so far.
Yeah, I dropped a note on Keyron Crawford at thebarnauburn.com a few days ago. It sounds like he, at times, has been unreal, very, very hard to block, to the point where they're having to rotate tackles to give guys different opportunities to see if they can block Keyron Crawford. And we kind of saw this pattern with J-Mac last year. J-Mac comes from App State. He kind of waits in the wings, and then when it was his turn to shine, he did it. Keyron Crawford, same thing. Comes from Arkansas State, was kind of the number 2 guy, and now it's his time to shine. So it seems like that pattern is working for the Tigers, but it's not just Keyron. And I think Keyron's going to be in a different situation than J-Mac was, where I don't think you're ever going to be able to double Keyron because of what Keldrick Falk is demanding. Amaris Williams has taken a big step forward based on the people that I've talked to. Chris Murray, the edge transfer from Sam Houston State, which Sam Houston is not a state. Need to stress that. But it sounds like he's been effective in coverage. Sounds like he got a pick 6 and some red zone work a few practices ago. And then Jared Smith, the true freshman. It sounds like he's kind of doing everything he can to say, hey, I know there's a lot of edge guys, but I'm worthy of playing time day one. So Auburn should be pretty good when it comes to pass rusher this year.
All right, thebarnauburn.com. Zach mentioned he dropped a note there. You can get all the coverage there, thebarnauburn.com.
Can I make a point?
Real quick, the Barn Auburn YouTube channel also has a ton of great content there with Zach and Brad Law, Kyle. I mean, it's really, really good stuff.
This is, like you may say, Jim. Dang, man, he was asking good questions.
You were?
That you may be saying that in the chat room.
Somebody might say that. I haven't seen it in the chat room yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's because I go to thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com, and I took notes. I watched and read at thebarnauburn.com.
Got your little notebook.
To where I even know that Xavier's looking good at left tackle. I can't read my writing in his last name. But Xavier's looking really good at left tackle coming from Virginia Tech. I know that already. I know that he's not out there because of that shoulder is being cleaned up, but he's going to be good at left tackle. Is that right?
Yeah, I think you nailed it.
Yeah.
I think you nailed it.
Yeah, so I got all that at thebarnauburn.com.
Okay. You can do the same.
They call that show prep in the biz, right?
No, I did that on my free time the other night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, tell him the McElroy stat that you came across.
Yeah, Roy McElroy. See if Zach knows it.
Roy McElroy, I don't know what it he's 42.5%.
Show prep here, Zach.
42.5% something at Augusta. And the winner averages at 52.5% of something. I forgot to write down what the something was, Zach.
So we don't know.
Yeah, we think it might be shit's the bed on the back nine.
But Rory is 10 off of that.
Sounds significant.
I mean, that sounds like a great stat. I can't wait till you finish it.
Are you giving me an incomplete?
Yeah, I think so.
You're a tough teacher when you don't sleep, man. You're a tough teacher when you don't sleep.
Zach, thank you, buddy. Good seeing you.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, guys.
All right, buddy. Zac Blackerby, thebarnauburn.com. He was with us on the Alexander Shinara Trial Attorneys Hotline, the Shinara Hotline, bringing you Zac Blackerby from thebarnauburn.com.